Are you familiar with a guy by the name of Absalom? Absalom was King David's son, one of his sons. Absalom certainly did not have reverence for his father or for God. He certainly didn't have reverence for dad or for God. So let's take a look at this example that I'm talking about. It comes to us from 2 Samuel. As we're considering reverence on transforming the world, I want to examine the life of Absalom here and learn something from his mistake. So I'll be back in just a moment. My name is Pastor Greg, and this is Transforming the World. So in 2 Samuel, we discover that David, who was king of Israel at the time, he had a son by the name of Absalom. And Absalom conspired to take the throne away from his father. That was his desire. That was the driving thing in Absalom's life. I want the throne. He didn't seek God first, but the throne became his master, if you will. So Absalom lied to and deceived a whole lot of leaders in Israel so that he could turn their allegiance and devotion away from David. David is driven out of town and kind of slinks off. David does. I got a lot of respect for David too, because rather than cause a civil war, he leaves town kind of quietly. And Absalom comes rushing in, waltzes right into the palace, takes his seat on the throne, and has himself declared king. Of course, God had nothing to say about this. Last I checked, God was the one who appointed people as kings, not themselves. So Absalom was so disrespectful that he actually goes to an advisor and says, "How can I defile my father even more?" I mean, listen to this. 2 Samuel 16. This is troubling. How can I defile my father even more? And then the advisor's name is Ahithophel. And Ahithophel says, "Go and sleep with your father's concubines, for he has left them here to look after the palace." Look at this. "Then all Israel will know that you have insulted your father beyond hope of reconciliation, and they will throw their support to you." Wow. So what do? They set up a tent on the palace roof where everyone could see it, and Absalom went in and had sex with his father's concubines. No reverence. No reverence for his father or for the Lord. Have you ever met somebody like this? Somebody who goes out of their way to make another person look bad. You ever met someone like that? Have you ever met a Christian like that? Have you ever seen Christians do this? Christians in a church, they end up lying about someone. They spread gossip and slander about someone. Well, first of all, they have no reverence for that person. But ultimately, they have no reverence for God either. I think this is why Jesus taught his followers this. Jesus taught his followers, he says, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. And that way you'll be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. When somebody is still controlled by their sinful nature, they're certainly not going to love their enemies, right? They're not going to desire what's best for them. But a follower of Jesus should, right? A follower of Jesus should desire what is best for someone else. not resort to gossip and slander, not to lies, not seeking ways to destroy a fellow Christian. Jesus commands his followers to be respectful, kind, considerate, and loving toward everyone, even an enemy, as we saw here in Matthew. And when a Christian treats another person in this way, even an enemy, they show reverence toward that other person, a deep respect for someone. But they also show reverence toward God. Why? Because God has commanded it. Of course, when a Christian looks for ways to shame or humiliate another person, they are not honoring God. I think that needs to be said. It needs to be stated. See, Absalom's problem was this, that the throne became more important than anything else. And to gain the throne of Israel, he acted in shameful ways. But this is what happens when something other than the Lord is master of our life. So my friend, I want to encourage you, warn you about this. Be wary. Be wary that you don't shame yourself or your God in pursuit of the things that this world is offering, especially the things in this world that are temporary. The stuff that moth and rust destroys, right? Rather, you should desire to increase your reverence toward God and toward other people. Love him and love them with all your heart, soul, and strength, says Christ. It's part of the greatest commandment. To love God and to love others. When we lie, when we slander, when we destroy somebody's character, we're not showing any reverence at all toward that person and not toward God as well. Don't let the lusts and the desires for things in this world replace your reverence for God, my friend. We'll continue to talk about this tomorrow, this whole concept of reverence. My name is Pastor Greg, and you've been watching Transforming the World.